you had to think about? And
I think at this time of year you have to go through a process, right? Like you have to answer the phone. But I think early on we knew kind of what we wanted to do and the potential of the player there. So we listened to things as it came in, but I think we were pretty locked in.
been a lot of talk about position overlap with Dylan and Steph and just the crowded backcourt. How do you see that shaking out? And what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think I've said this over the years that like positions in this day and age don't matter as much. We just saw playoffs where the team that won had a 6'5" wing that guarded the center, right? And you start to put offensive skill sets together and having multiple ball handlers, multiple people that can create, multiple people that can put pressure on the rim and make life easier for other players on the floor. I think that's an advantage, and I think we can do that for all 48 minutes. And so I'm not as concerned about positional overlap and trying to find skills and people that can put us in advantage situations and be able to play off that, and he can definitely do that.
You said you were surprised? Is that what you said?
Yeah, a little surprised. We had not at number two,
Right.
but we had
Bryant?
we had Carter pretty high on our board, and actually tried made some moves to potentially go and get him, and so to get him at 14 was a pleasant surprise for us tonight.
What did you like about Carter and maybe get the possibility of moving up?
Yeah, I think he's super versatile. He's a big wing that I think we think can guard four positions. He spaces the floor well. He's a really good athlete. I think he's a smart young kid, and I think he's got the right character and makeup that we look for. So I think we're excited that he was there. And again, a little surprised, but we think he adds a new dimension to this team going forward.
How long ago did y'all lock in on Dylan?
Well, we scouted all year,
Yeah.
so I think it's been, a bit of a two-player race up at the top, and even dating back to high school, there's some conversation in that. But we didn't necessarily lock in until we knew we had to pick, and then obviously you do the homework. But we knew what type of player he was, and so once we were there, we were pretty confident.
When it came to trading up for Carter, at what point did you realize that you didn't need to do that?
At 13. You never know. And so you're on the phone and you're trying, and things just kind of break sometimes. So
Backup big is still a need. Do you think that can be addressed in free agency? And just what are your thoughts in general about that period?
yeah, we'll see. It's a fun time in the NBA because all these things happen back to back. So I think we start with the second round tomorrow. And kind of see where things go, and then we'll flow into free agency.
We could expect Carter and Harper at Summer League and some reps.
Yeah, I think we'll get them here and kind of see how everybody's doing and feeling. But that's the hope, yeah.
You mentioned the second round, obviously traded out of that reportedly today. What did you see, or why did you end up making that move?
I think we weigh each thing out and try to project forward, and how we have our board set up, and so sometimes it makes sense to make some decisions early, and you can always adjust and react accordingly if needed.
Is there a bid you have in mind in free agency? I mean, is that doable there?
Can't tell you that, Tom.
Was, perhaps targeting a big in the draft? Was that on the to-do list?
Also, I don't think I think we've talked about this. We don't ever approach the draft and just trying to fill a need, right? I think there's a lot of ways to build your team out, and the draft is the chance that you get to add someone who you think can fit long term. And so you want to take the long term talent, and you can figure the roster out in terms of immediate fit, in different ways.
As you went through this process and learned more about Dylan, was there anything that you learned that surprised you about him and the young man that he is?
He's got a rare confidence with humility. He's a very down to earth, simple kid. Loves basketball, and after spending time with him throughout the process, you can tell that he knows he's a good basketball player. But he wants to be part of a group. He wants to be part of a team. He's willing to sacrifice. He's willing to work for it. And the more we spent time with them, the more we felt confident in that. And again, you talk to a lot of people around the kids, these young men, to try to get an understanding of who they are and, what they're about. And he really confirmed that for us when we spent time with them.
Have any conversations with his dad?
Yeah, we did. We did. It was great because you get some great historical stories, NBA stories. So I don't know how much we told him. We kind of just listened to his stories because they were great, and we had a nice little time together.
How much do you see, you have guys obviously Dylan,
I got it.
and then Steph comes from a basketball family as well. How much do you see from guys like that who have that pedigree? How much does it reflect in their own character and habits and stuff like that?
You know what's great is the first time that they're hearing a tough message or the truth about basketball isn't coming from us or coming from a coach. They get that at home. How hard you have to work, what it takes to be great, what it means to sacrifice and be part of something great. They get that. And so we're reinforcing something that they've already been taught versus we're trying to teach something for the first time. And we think both have that in space.
Big picture, Brian, do you feel like everything's coming together like you envisioned it? And where are you now as far as the playoff picture?
I think what we've tried to do is just put one foot in front of the other, stay head down, and hopefully we look up someday and we're right where we want to be. But not putting the cart before the horse. We got a lot of work to do over the coming months and coming years. But our hope and goal is to be there as soon as we can be.
There have been some additions to the coaching staff. What can you say about Sean and Corliss and what they bring?
Yeah, I think we're really excited about them. That process was a pretty thorough one in terms of analyzing where we could utilize some help and how they both helped us and just their background, their experiences. Both of them have a defensive bend. Both of them are very sharp and serious and hardworking and willing to be part of a team. And so just like we do the background work on players, we do the same on staff and coaches. And so I know we're excited about what they bring to the team, and they're already getting to work and putting long hours in and trying to figure out how we take the next step.
Brian, is it accurate that Wemby is not going to be involved in Eurobasket?
I don't want to speak too much to that, but I will say, his rehab process is going well, and we're hopeful for the future.
Thanks, Brad.
All right.